All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast, brought to you each and every day. And of course, today is the last day. Been a hell of a month. Brought to you by Ventum Bikes, my road bike, my NS1, my gravel bike, my GS1. Got her packed up, headed to Europe as we speak, or as we wrap. Absolutely love it. And I think you will too. A special offer for our listeners, 10% off if you head on over to ventumracing.com/themove. If you don't get the bike in 3 weeks, another 10% off. And again, that's ventumracing.com/themove. Stage 8. Mel, what did we do?
Stage 8. From Lure to la Super Planche des Belles Filles. Lure to la Super Planche des Belles Filles.
I mean, it never gets old.
It's pretty darn good.
It is so good. But again, another just, as we suspected, but a little more exciting than yesterday, but another just extremely dominant performance by Annemiek van Vleuten. I should also say I am joined, I haven't said this every day, Mari Holden, Alison Tetrick, but special guest today, Johan Brunel, is going to jump in a little bit and talk about his takeaways from this this women's tour. But she's on a different level.
She's definitely on her own level. And I mean, I don't think anyone else could have pulled that off with 5 bike changes. Still come back and drop the whole field. Pretty wild.
So today we saw Annemiek win this very special race, the Tour de France Femmes, Avec Zwift. 2 dominant performances, like you said, and 5 bike changes.
5.
So Lance, how many bike changes have you had in a race?
I don't. I'd have to go. Johan, anytime I have questions about this, because I never know the answers, I always go, Johan, how many did I have? never 5. And of course, somewhere she started the day on a new bike, a yellow bike, which I think Johan's going to touch on. Mm-hmm. So she had some changes with her spare bike. She had some changes with a teammate's bike. And then finally got the original bike back, didn't like it, something didn't feel right, went back to the spare. The thing that I also was struck by, because the first bike change she had in the yellow jersey, right? In cycling is a very traditional sport. There is typically some etiquette around the yellow jersey, having a mechanical or crashing where the peloton. Well, wait, we didn't see that today. And by the way, I love it. And this peloton said no.
They were looking for any opportunity to try and put her into difficulty, and they saw that as an opportunity. And clearly, the teams went to the front and just started hammering.
We definitely saw it. Yeah. They did not ease up on the pace, but for this wonderful champion, I'm going to have to do boomstick for Annemiek. For being the best climber in the world.
Yes.
Absolutely dominating. And for those of you that were curious a little bit on her background, Annemiek is a gold medalist in the TT at Tokyo, silver medalist in the road race. And she had that horrific crash in 2016 going into the gold medal ride with Mara Abbott, world champion time trial. And she has a master's degree in epidemiology, specializing in animal science. And she didn't start racing until she was 24 years old.
Right.
And she had dreams of becoming a professional soccer player, and a knee injury made her find the bike, and here she is at 39 years old.
39 years old. Think about that. That's we'd have to go back to the history books, but that's certainly, I think it's safe to say that is the oldest winner of any tour. 39.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I mean, she's definitely on the older side. You
think on the men's side too there was somebody older than 39?
Okay, not on the men's side. On the men's side, no. There wouldn't be that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, boomstick, AVV. We got you, girl.
Boomstick to AVV. And I asked Johan, because as we've seen the television numbers just blow all expectations out of the water. We saw it again today, huge crowds, not just at the finish, but in the cool crowds, right? The crowds with campers and the crowds with picnic tables and rosé out, like crowds we're used to seeing in the men's race, which I just thought was so cool to see. You're seeing this event really take off, and Johan, and I said, how much does a rider like Annemiek make? And he asked me, she makes about $1 million a year, which is awesome.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It's just, but it's such a dominant performance. Speaking of dominance, the Dutch, I mean, talk about a boomstick. The Dutch sweep all of the jerseys, so the yellow jersey, polka dot jersey, green jersey, and the white jersey. It was their tour.
Yeah, well, we've seen that at the Olympics, World Championships, of course. The Netherlands is definitely the country to be looking for the highest competition, which we discussed. I mean, I remember racing against when Vos and like Annemiek are on the same team. Can you imagine that? Like 1-2 punch? I mean, That's what the Olympics and World Championships look like. So it's a powerful cycling country, and props to them. Boom stick.
Boom stick.
Boom
they
to the
definitely
Dutch.
set the bar. I mean, it's kind of what the rest of the world needs to try and achieve. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Today's show also brought to you by Roca. We talk about them almost every day on here. The sunglasses, amazing. The prescription glasses, amazing. It all comes down to the optics. Also the design of the frame. They're super lightweight, no slip. Hand built in our hometown of Austin, Texas. Rob and his whole crew down there really push themselves. Therefore, they push the product, and they make the best product out there. Head on over to Roca. That's ROKA.com. Enter the checkout code THEMOVE for 20% off. Also today brought to you by Wahoo. See, and y'all were waiting for it. You were waiting for me to say something else, but
we miss it.
Wahoo!
Now it feels
what a cool suite of products. You've got obviously the Kicker Smart Trainer, the Rival Sports Watch, the Bolt GPS computers, and then now a new addition to the portfolio. And we had Corey in here and his crew who's running Speedplay with the Speedplay pedals, including the PowerLink. Head on over to wahoofitness.com to check it out. Allison? You're the boss. I want you to know.
Do you, I don't know, what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Vollering because she did such a tough ride yesterday. And of course, another Dutch rider wins the polka dot jersey. I'm not a fan of this jersey. Okay. When it comes to the men's race, I think it's like, it's light, right? I think she deserves this jersey. She rode a hell of a race yesterday. And she rode a hell of a race today. I was curious and concerned for how she would recover from yesterday's effort trying to match Van Vleuten. And what we saw at the end of the stage, at the very, very top of Planche de Belleville, when it's 20-25%, she looked better to me at the end of the climb.
Yeah, I mean, I was concerned when we saw her attacking early on in the race because I wasn't exactly 100% sure why she was expending so much energy when it was going to come down to the Planche de Belleville. And so I was concerned that if she went too hard too early, she could blow up on the second climb and with only like 8 points difference or 6 points difference, that something could happen to the jersey, which is still really important in the race and possibly the second. So I was concerned, but she definitely rode composed once she got to that climb and rode her own pace. She rode great, bringing her back towards the top.
She was isolated. She lost Ashley Moolman-Pasa, who's one of the best climbers in the world as well. Got sick. Yesterday we saw her dropping back and looked very upset and pale at the end and had an infection and was not feeling well, so did not start. So Demi was pretty much isolated, and we were a little concerned about her. She was on the front driving it.
She was riding, and same for our girl Cecile Ludwig. And I'm thinking, girls, just get in make her do the work. Like, just let this thing unfold, see what you can do, see if she cracks. And both of them actually finished strong and looked great.
Yeah, and Borghini, Longo Borghini, our Lamborghini, came back, finished strong too. She's 6th overall, I believe. But, she looked a lot better. Yesterday, she said when she was finishing, she felt like she was rock climbing.
I was also really impressed. Veronica Urs, coming in at 9th overall in this race. I mean, that's super impressive for, an American who's only been riding a couple years. So comes out of Seattle, out of a development team found in Seattle. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Boy, that'd
getting
be a hell of a story.
And then,
like developing because we get questions when we're covering the men's race. We get questions every day, every hour of every day. When are we going to have another American winner? When are we going to have, a dominant American team? Well, that would be a hell of a story if we could develop an American on the women's side that could come in as a young rider and already in her first tour gets 9th.
Yeah.
9th overall. And
you look at, we have a lot of talent here in the States, but definitely the Dutch set the bar and we need to figure out how to combat it.
Well, should we, as we alluded to earlier, we have our special guest, Johan Bruneel, who it goes without saying, knows more about the sport than anybody else, I believe. But he's been really tracking, and he can speak for himself, but really following the women's race. And Johan, I guess, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. West.
Ja, alles in orde. Everything okay. Nestor.
Johan, if you had to say your 3 or 4 takeaways over the past 8 days in the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, what stands out to you?
Well, I think, first of all, it goes without saying the dominance of Annemiek van Vleuten. As you guys said, she's on a different level. And I think today was a clear example. You know, she had all those mechanical problems, and it was just like, you know, she never panicked. She did whatever she wanted. You know, she got back to the car, changed bikes, easily got back. The thing with Annemiek van Vleuten is that, you know, her style is so particular that you never know if she's comfortable or not. But, you know, we saw a lot of times that she was overtaking certain riders, and the difference in speed was just amazing to see that on TV. So she's super, super dominant. I think, as you guys said also, the dominance of Dutch cycling, you know, I think, you know, mainly Van Vleuten and Marianne Vos, the two veterans of cycling, are still super dominant, each on their terrain. I mean, you know, I think it's great to see this race being so popular, so followed on TV, but especially the crowds. I think the crowds were incredible, and I think no other cycling race in women's cycling has seen these crowds. And I kind of think that the choice of doing the Tour de France straight after the Tour de France for men is actually not such a bad idea, rather than doing it together, because now they get the attention focused only on the women's race. And no, I loved it. I loved it.
Well, just pause there for a second, Johan, because I want to pull up the tweet that the great Billie Jean King put up yesterday, because it speaks to this. She says, in the 119-year history of the Tour de France, women have competed just 5 times. It was canceled in 1989 because of lack of financial backing. Thank you at Go Zwift for sponsoring this year's women's race. So, and the reason I pause and bring this up is because what brings financial backing to any sporting event? TV and crowds. And I think we can stop even, you know, being curious or questioning whether or not this event will have a future, right? Because of the TV numbers, because of the great crowds. I think we're here to stay.
Yeah, and we've talked about this for a couple of weeks, but on visibility is viability. And that's why we have the hashtag, not only hashtag the TDFF, whatever, because you want it to trend, but also hashtag watch the FOM. You know, like if you're watching women succeed. WTF, I know. You guys know, and you know, being a collegiate tennis player myself before I found cycling, I'm a huge fan of Billie Jean King and what she's done for equality in women's sports. So I was really excited to see her watch what we're doing out here on 2 wheels.
Johan, what else sticks out?
Well, I mean, today it was. I mean, actually, it was a good thing because it brought a bit of suspense to the race, right? But the mechanical problems of Team Movistar was it was surprising. I really don't understand why, and especially in an 8-day race, and everybody knows that yesterday, but even today, is the most important stage of the tour. Why you would change to a new bike? You know, I mean, you know how we have done it, Lance. You never change bikes. No. You know, only for the parade on the Champs-Élysées, right? But so this was obviously to please the bike sponsor, Canyon. You know, she started with the yellow bike, and you know, a new bike is always a new bike. You know, things can go wrong, or maybe she wanted to please, or Movistar wanted to please LeBron James. You guys have seen that he's invested. He has invested in the company, right?
Yeah. Good for him. Good for them.
Yeah.
It's as we talk about, because you referenced Team Movistar, because people, companies, corporations that spend this much money on anything, whether it's advertising, sports, whatever it is, they study all of this stuff. And here you have on the men's side a Team Movistar that's been around forever. You know, God only knows how much they are spending on the men's team. They are tracking what works for them. And here's a team, again, been around forever, but has been really subpar for the last season or two. I mean, if they don't have Alejandro Valverde, you never hear of this team. But I would love to see the data that they are getting from the performance of the men's team and the performance of the women's team, specifically Annemiek van Vleuten. It has to be a bigger return, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, Lance, that you know, Annemiek van Vleuten and their women's team and this Tour de France saves the season.
I agree,
and probably saves the future of Team Movistar, because you know on the men's side they're doing terrible. They are close to being relegated. No, they're in their 17th or 18th position. So this cannot the bosses cannot be happy, but this makes up for a lot, you know. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but the manager and the guy who was in the car for Team Movistar is actually the son of Eusebio Unzue, the general manager of the.
We asked Mari yesterday who their director was, and I saw that it was Unzue. She showed me the start list with Unzue, and I thought it can only be one family. I didn't. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else?
What else? Pues, obviously, as you guys said, this tour is here to stay, and also another thing, Annemiek van Vleuten, she won the Giro already. Now she wins the Tour, and she's probably going to win the Vuelta. It's the Vuelta. It's not known as the Vuelta. It's the challenge by La Vuelta, but it's 4 days during the Tour of Spain. So she won it already last year. So this is going to be historic. The same athlete, the same cyclist who wins all 3 Grand Tours in the same season.
Speaking of tennis, Grand Slam.
Mm-hmm. And she has already said she's going to retire at the end of next year, which I found interesting, but like a year before the Olympics. So anyway.
Oh, wow.
Well, TBD. People say
TBD.
that all the time. Today's show also brought to you by Dry Farm Wines. As many of you know, winemaking is an ancient process, over 8,000 years old. It's completely changed over time. Traditional winemaking here in the U.S. It has gotten to be a little different than the way they started 8,000 years ago. Dry Farm Wines is taking a different approach, right? Totally biodynamic, totally organic. Traditional winemaking the winemakers can add up to 75 different additives and all these crazy things into the wine. Dry Farm doesn't do that. With biodynamic wine, you get lower sugar, lower alcohol, additive free, friendly to keto and paleo, and much friendlier on the planet. According to Dry Farm Wines, almost 1.4 billion gallons of water used less because there's no irrigation. Special package that we've done for the Tour of Italy. Now we did one for the Tour of France. And as Johan just said, Tour of Spain's coming up. So we have a Spanish box. So they've curated wines from those countries that they've approved and totally vetted to be biodynamic and organic. Head on over to dryfarmwines.com/wedo. And yes, Allison, I'm leaving you with a bunch of Dry Farm wine.
Oh, thank you.
You're waiting.
I've been waiting. No wedding presents, no champagne. We talked about that. Normally you guys have the champagne procession, on the Champs-Élysées. Today we have to do Super Planche Delphi. It's totally different.
I got you covered.
Also, for those that are still itching to finish our We Do segment on Zwift, there are only 4 races left. That ends tonight at midnight Mountain Time. And I'm just going to throw out Alison Chauvin. She spells it with one L like me. She stayed up all night to get 7 wins, so now she's in the lead. But
wow.
Mari's girl
That's
Tammy
impressive.
still has some time. And if you guys do race the C and D category, it's still wide open, and just start recording some fast times. But 4 races to go. We Do segment, Champs-Élysées. Don't recommend the champagne procession while doing this prologue.
And speaking of Zwift, we've talked a little about it this week, but really, really, really huge effort on their part to and didn't hesitate. I think they came in right away. Once these women sort of petitioned ASO and said, okay, now we got to bring this back. Zwift was right there. So kudos to them for supporting these just totally badass women.
Yeah, they also were, sorry, Mari.
No.
We're so excited.
It's okay. I was just going to say that they've been at the forefront for a while because they also had the academy that they started, that they were finding women talent out of their academy, and then also, supporting this race. It just shows that what they really want to do for us. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool. I was throwing in there. Also sponsored the pre-rebate. They're the title sponsor of the women's pre-rebate this year. So
also owned by ASO.
I do like it when companies support this, and thanks to all the listeners. We definitely were watching history be written, out there on this iconic race with this incredible opportunity, and this finish line is really just the beginning of even more opportunity and growth in the sport. So we've really enjoyed that, being a part of that, and so thanks for tuning in.
We got some cool comments that I just want to read off. Some of them might have some questions in them, and most of them are talking about you gals. So, which rightfully so. Brian Harris says, "I love the move. Been watching since stages. All the new additions, including this one, is fantastic. These 2 ladies are so insightful and entertaining. I'm really glad this is going to continue. Have a great and blessed, peaceful, uncomfortable day."
uncomfortable.
That's what it said. That's what Brian. What a sicko. You guys were like, he started.
It was good till that.
Hang on, yeah, exactly. Y'all are going great, blessed, peaceful, and you're like, this is amazing. And
You're the one that started a suffer club, so there's that.
Marathon Man 65 says these women are fantastic and badass. They call out LA when he's wrong without missing a beat. This is so damn refreshing. Ooh. Yes. TRCSF. I don't know what that means, but very insightful commentary and love the humor and chemistry. Jonathan Pollard says, loving these shows. I didn't know much about women's cycling, but I'm learning how exciting it is. The athletes are compelling, very interesting and informative commentary on these races and the athletes. And that's my takeaway is this racing has been, and we've talked about it, and as we sit there in private and watch the race, there's just more action. Like I like action. I don't care what sport it is. Like give me action. There was more action. And obviously we saw a great men's tour, but I was so pleasantly surprised with just how much action there was back and forth and different, tons of drama. Kathy L. Johnson says, great insights throughout by Mari and Allie.
Oh.
Love you, Allie.
The Tour de France Femmes Avec Zwift have exceeded all expectations. Thank you, Mari and Allie, and thank you to the men of the elite peloton for exemplary support. Last one, Michonne Kotz says, thank you, ladies and Lance, for this amazing show covering the women's tour. My husband and I are religiously watching the tour and listen to the move every cycling season. We're enjoying this show every bit as much. Oh. Amazing.
Awesome.
Johan, I'm going to see you in a couple weeks. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
We can't ever get you over here to the States, so I got to come see you.
Yeah, well, I think it's, it's going to be a more pleasant environment where we see each other, I think.
Are Yo and I wearing matching shirts?
I wondered if you guys were like...
Did you coordinate?
If you guys were like texting each other, like, should we rock the yellow today?
It looks good.
Yeah.
You guys look good.
I love it.
And also for the folks who donated to the Uvalde effort, the bikes, the giveaway to every kid in the elementary school there that, of course, was tragically affected a couple of months ago. And as we mentioned over the course of the fundraise, if you'd like to come down and actually hand deliver that bike to a child, certainly more than welcome. Just check in with wedo.team, and we'll be sending out emails. That's going to be August 27th. But gosh, I think we raised almost $300,000.
That's incredible.
So awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a real credit to the listeners. Any other final thoughts it's been a long month, but man,
for us, it's been.
I'm ending on a high. I'll be really, really transparent. I didn't know what to expect. This is a new crew, and obviously we played with our whole dynamic. We nailed it. I think on day 3 we stepped up and we were just like, "Fuck, we got it."
Yeah.
And I'm ending the month on a high. I really am. I'm not just bullshitting. I mean it. This has been just this chemistry here, the race itself, so much action, the way we all vibed. This is a total high for me.
I loved it. It was such an awesome experience to be here and do this and get to see such an amazing race. And it just kind of re-sparked in my love of, road racing to be able to watch it live like this. Because when you're home and you're reading the updates and stuff, it's different than actually watching the action like we are getting to do now. It was incredible.
Hell yeah. Great way to spend my honeymoon. I loved it.
You are going to have a proper honeymoon now.
Eventually. Not now.
Oh my goodness, what? What are you going to go off some gravel race and just suffer and be uncomfortable?
Actually, they are.
Yeah, we are.
Golly.
No.
But in all seriousness, to everybody watching or listening, thank you so much for the support the last month. This is, I am ending on a high. I also think this was our best yet. I mean, I think that going back to the men's race, something changed within this crew, and I hope you heard it and felt it. But it's been a blast.
We've had fun. Thank
you.
I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you guys.
And also, Lance. I think congrats to the whole crew. All the people behind the scenes to stay focused. It's been for everybody. It's been our longest Tour de France ever. 4 weeks. But thanks a lot to all the people behind the scenes to make this happen. And for my part also, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I agree that we we took it on another level this year, and especially it's a lot more. I mean, it's been great fun, and thank you to all the listeners for the support and the comments.
Well said. And JB pointed out that whole crew. By the way, that whole crew, just because you don't see them, you see what you see here on the TV. That whole crew stayed the same. So we got Bolch over here to the right. We got HR down here in front of us. HR had this. This was her favorite week. We got Colton back there, and JB's still back there.
Yeah.
So it's been rad.
Great team. More to come.
And more to come. Absolutely. 100%. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.